You're listening to the Armchair GM Sports Network.
You're listening to the Full Count Major League Baseball podcast, your local source for trending Major League Baseball topics, season analysis, fun, objective discussions, and up-to-date coverage of the Toronto Blue Jays organization from right here in the Niagara region. Here are your hosts, Brandon Caputo, Reece and Colin Ward.
Hello, baseball fans, and welcome to this week's installment of the Full Count MLB podcast right here on the Armchair GM Sports Network, your source for North American sports coverage by sports fans, for sports fans, delivered to you right here in the beautiful Niagara region. Find us on social media by following the podcast on Twitter at Armchair GM Pod and on our account at AGM Full Count Pod, which is clearly dedicated to this show specifically. We are available on many listening platforms, including Spreaker, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, CastBox, and Deezer by searching the Armchair GM Sports Network. And of course, wherever you get your podcasts, make sure you drop us a like and subscribe to the show. Lastly, check out our user-friendly website, armchairgmsports.com, for all things regarding the network, including articles, podcast episodes, sponsors, and contributors. Now with an easy to navigate mobile version to go along with our existing desktop website. As always, we are the hosts of the Full Count MLB podcast. I'm Reece along with Colin Ward. No B-cap this week, so just a duo for you. That great duo.
Red Sox battery.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I am, of course, the play-by-play guy for the Brantford Red Sox. Colin joins me as the color man, and you can follow him on Twitter at Colin Ward _14. You follow myself at Reece Dumaney, all lowercase, and a lot of stuff happened, Colin.
Oh, a lot. Yeah, it was a fun time. Trade deadline, fun time. I'm doing it. I'm outside. Got out of the pool a half hour and I guess we've been on here. Got out of the pool, threw on a shirt, threw a hat on, and it's too nice to not be outside right now. So recording outdoors today.
What are you chirping me because I'm not outside? I see how it is.
No. Hey, I got the tan going there too. Well, the sun's glaring on me too, though. I should have went with the eye black. That would have been sick.
That would have fit it perfectly.
The fangs. Maybe during the break, I'll throw some eye black on. Can you imagine come back?
I never used eye black. I maybe used it once.
I was a big eye black guy. Huge eye black fan. Every day game I did the fangs. It more to get the team going. As you know, I like to talk a lot in the room and stuff in the clubhouse. So when a big game or something, double headers, maybe we lose the first game, need something in the second game, come out with the fangs, get the guys going. I once had a guy on my team that did a whole beard. Yeah, I did the whole beard. But I always did the fangs.
Like that kid who was that Jose Bautista fan when he hit that home run in in the ALDS.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I don't think that was eye black, but it was still wild marker job.
Did I say eye black?
I don't know.
Good one, Colin. Good one.
Colin. You're good. It's all good. Oh. That's all right. On our OHL podcast, I was pointed out that I don't know who it was. We said this Sarnia Spirit. So.
Oh, really?
He had blonde moments last week too. I didn't even remember that.
As you can see, there's a lot of blonde.
Not that big a deal.
Yeah, I probably said it a bunch. So
people screw up. It happens. Get over it.
Yep.
All right. To the trade deadline. Yeah, right. To the trade deadline, we'll start with the Toronto Blue Jays, and they made a few moves. Everyone thinks that they made like tens of thousands of moves. They really only made 3 right around the deadline. So start with the major one. They receive Jose Barrios from the Minnesota Twins in exchange for Austin Martin and Simeon Woods Richardson. And we'll probably spend quite a bit of time on this one, kind of, discussing what the Jays are going to get out of Barrios for the year and a half that they have him. And then, of course, what goes the other way in Austin Martin and Simeon Woods Richardson. But Colin, first, when you saw this trade drop,
it's exciting. It's exciting. I mean, forever Toronto was the team that didn't really make that move. They did it in 15, right, with the Tulowitzki and the Price deal, which is crazy that once that Jamie Campbell tweeted out that Matt Boyd is the only player the Tigers have, the only major leaguer from that deal. And Daniel Norris, who just got shipped to Milwaukee, really struggled in Detroit. He was never really the guy since his second outing with the Jays in 2015, where he had the dead arm stint. He really hasn't bounced back from that.
Well, and that's what's funny. Sorry to cut you off, but
no, all good.
All of these people, for like all these Tiger fans, I'm gonna miss Norris. He was so great. Are you gonna miss his 9 ERA? Didn't think so. Move on.
What are they gonna miss? Yeah, and then Tigers. And quickly on the Tigers are in a good spot. The Tigers did a great job just moving Norris. I mean, they're a team that Cleveland's tough, but Minnesota trading Barrios, that's a spot where they're just going to move up, because Minnesota was, as we're getting in the Barrios trade now, Minnesota, they were that team that didn't make that move, right? They weren't going to make those moves just because they thought maybe next year, right? They can go back for it. They had Barrios for next year. They had those deals for next year. So why not? So that was interesting.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And well, with this move, it's clear that Austin Martin and Richardson, they're not those long prospects that you're expecting. That'll be a deal where let's see if it works out in like 5 or 6 years. This is a deal that you could see the real value in it in like 2 to 3 years, because Austin Martin, obviously where he was taken by the Blue Jays, good chance he could be up in the big leagues next year, especially if Minnesota decides to, hey, let's put the brakes on it. We screwed up. We're going to start over again, which would absolutely suck for Minneapolis and all the Twins fans. And then Simeon Woods Richardson, obviously he came over in the Stroman deal, and was he the Blue Jays number 4 prospect, I think?
Yeah, 4. But Woods Richardson improved a lot. I would say Woods Richardson, honestly, probably has more upside than Austin Martin. Austin Martin wasn't a big power guy, and the one problem with Austin Martin was, what position is he, right? What position is he? And that's partly fault to the Blue Jays. That's partly the fault of the Blue Jays, because the Blue Jays last year when they drafted him didn't have a center fielder for the future. Now they do. They didn't have a second baseman. Now they do, which I'd imagine making a Barrios move is probably a 95% chance Simeon's back with the Blue Jays next season. You would think it's a good spot for both sides, Simeon included. I mean, go from Oakland, where it's a tough spot to hit home runs, and you got to play in the AL East. I mean, Toronto's a pretty good spot for him. So,
and you can get real money in Toronto too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he'll get paid. So that's the thing. What's interesting to me is that where's he going to play? Austin Martin, right? He's not going to play shortstop now. He's not going to play second base. He's not going to play center field, so maybe third. Where Santiago Espinal has had a heck of a start to his season. I mean, I'll start with complete season right now. He's batting like 304 right now at this moment. I mean, that's incredible. Espinal, I mean, to think Espinal would hit like that. So just the timing for the Jays, and their window really to win is next year. And I think when you looked at their spring training roster this year, you kind of saw that with the Jays, because the talk all year was who's going to pitch in relief, who's going to be in the bullpen, where they did make a good move with Brad Hand, but
despite giving up and
the loss to
Cleveland game on Monday.
Yep. Yeah.
But I mean, that happens.
Hey, but that's going to happen with Brad Hand, right? 50-50. One day you're going to get Cy Young, the next you're going to get Neil Young. It's going to happen. So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And then with Austin Martin, it was a matter of like they were in talks about Trevor Story. So, okay, you're acquiring another shortstop, but you just essentially giving away Martin, you wasted a draft pick. And you could say that the New York Mets screwed up their first round pick because
Kumar Rocker.
He's not coming.
Yeah, his agent Scott Boras, right? So
there you go.
And Boras said that, and Boras said it was strictly money. It was strictly money. The club would not pay Kumar just because they were more invested in the next year's draft, which makes no sense to me, because the Mets are going to have a better pick this year than next year. So why would they why would they get rid of a future stud? I mean, Kumar Rocker was arguably bigger for that Vanderbilt team than Jack Leiter was.
Yeah, but
I mean, when Leiter went through that stretch, Rocker was the one that won them games, which was incredible.
I have a hard time paying a guy hundreds of thousands of dollars.
And there's no guarantee.
Even played one minor league game yet.
Yeah.
That's my issue with it. Clearly, he's talented. Clearly, has a really good shot to play in the major leagues. But that's
still gonna get there.
Yeah.
And how many guys do you see that are drafted in the first round that don't turn out? You see that every year. There's gonna be
for the Jays, they're essentially saying, "Oh, Austin Martin didn't turn into what we wanted him to."
After 1 year.
Yeah.
Not even a year. Not even a year. Because this is his first full year. This is his first year.
True. And playing games,
Yeah, so it's not even really a year. I just think the Jays know their roster right now. I don't think they saw him fitting into where it was last year, which is a good problem for the Jays to have. I think they believe that, which it is, their window, I think, is next year to win the AL East. I think right now, if you look at their team, they have the best roster on paper right now, best batting order on paper in that division. I mean, the run scored shows.
In terms of all-around hitting, yeah.
Yeah, pure hitting. Yeah. The Yankees just have strikeout or home runs. The Yankees adding Rizzo and Gallo, I mean, it's still strikeout or home run, which is how the Yankees play, I guess, right? So it's their ballpark. So that's just interesting too. But I like the trade. They had to do it. Barrios is good for next year. It gives them that option. And Ross Atkins kept saying that too, right? In their press conferences, he kept saying, we don't want to make a move just for this year. We want to make a move for next year. So I think they know deep down inside this team, it's going to be tough to make the playoffs this year. I mean, they got to jump 3 teams. I think it's going to come down. I think 2 out of the 3 teams are going to get in the wild card. It's going to be New York, Oakland, or Toronto. I think one of those 3 teams will be in the wild card, or 2 out of the 3. That's what I think.
Second wild card team, yeah.
Yep, that's what I think it'll happen. Because I think Tampa Bay or Boston, one of those teams may fall out. Because Glasnow just getting Tommy John surgery, that dramatically hurts the Rays. That hurts the Rays more than any other team in baseball with that. And Boston not trading their prospects, I get that. Just because what are they going to be next year? There's no guarantee the Red Sox are going to be back. The Red Sox being good this year is crazy. So, and you keep waiting for the Red Sox to lose. So there's a thing there too where that's why they might maybe just got Schwarber, get a bat they can have for next year, and don't trade your big prospects. For the Jays, they're closer to winning a World Series, being a legit World Series. Let's be honest, right now, if you had to pick a World Series champion, are you picking the Boston Red Sox? I'm probably not, but they're a good team.
I'd probably be picking a National League team.
Yeah, exactly. Even to represent I'd probably go Dodgers right now, even in the wild card. I think the Dodgers still win the World Series with their trades with Scherzer and Turner, but I just think it's crazy there.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and we'll quickly touch on the other 2 moves. Like you said, Brad Hand, lefty out of the bullpen, and Joaquin Soria, a right-hander out of the bullpen. Soria's been around. He kind of knows what's up. He kind of knows what's going on, and he's someone that's gonna. I'm not gonna say he's gonna overpower. He's not gonna be phenomenal, but he's gonna be decent. And when you have the Jays bullpen before the trade deadline, you could use some decent right now.
Well, he's kind of like that LaTroy Hawkins deal, eh?
A little bit.
That's kind of like, it's like the Mark Lowell type deal. It's more like LaTroy Hawkins as like a guy that might fill in our bullpen, give us that veteran presence. Because I mean, when Julian Merriweather comes back, he's a young guy with not a lot of experience at major league level. And like you mentioned, Reece, even Nate Pearson, when he comes back, there's no guarantee Nate Pearson's going to be a good reliever. It's hard to go from being a starter, just going in pitching like that. I mean, you're going in to warm up to be a reliever. What would you say, 8 to 10 pitches? You got to be ready to go, because in any given spot, you're going to be going in.
Yeah, because you got to get hot quickly. So that means you're jumping off the rubber, throwing as hard as you can, right? Not off the rubber, off the mound, throwing as hard as you can just to get that arm loose, and then you step on the rubber, and you get 10 to 15 pitches, and you're expected to be good to go.
Yeah, so it's hard. It's hard to be a reliever. So there's no guarantee about Nate Pearson, who's had injury problems this year. There's no guarantee about that being successful. And I just think having Soria as that veteran presence, and also quick add, the Adam Simber deal has been incredible for the Jays as well. Simber's been really good. Simber and Dickerson obviously hasn't played yet, but he took batting practice on Monday.
Yeah,
so that might be interesting. Yeah, that might help out with Grichuk starting to slump here, and Biggio as well.
Yeah, well, and a lot of people think they can compete in 2021. They can. Are they a playoff team?
Who knows?
I don't know. That's a conversation that could be had for half an hour to an hour. So
I think, honestly, to make the playoffs, I think they got to win 13 out of 15 games.
they have to win every single game. And I'm not saying the Tigers are bad. They're around 500 this season.
Well, they got to win those head-to-head games. They got to win those.
Jays, you have to beat the Tigers every single game this season.
Well, that's why I said 13 out of 15. They got to win because they got to win the series against Boston and New York because they got to gain games on those teams in Tampa Bay. That's the part that's hurt this year. Do you remember that? Remember the series they lost to Philadelphia, and it was like the bullpen blew that one game. It's like, oh, it's just one game, right?
Yep.
And I remember it was against Vince Velasquez because I remember just being upset because it's Vince Velasquez, 4-inning Vinny, and the Jays bullpen blows the game. I think it was a Steven Matt start. He pitched really good, or him or Robbie Ray, and
one of the lefties.
Then they just came in and blew it. So that's when it all started. And then the series after, they went and played Boston. They just got smoked, and they lost the 3 out of the 4 games. And if they avoided that little skid there in like June, it's a totally different story. Yeah. But unfortunately, and hey, it's baseball. That's going to happen. You lose those games, and I mean, don't lose those games. Don't suck. But that's at the end of the day what's going to hurt. That skid they had in June where their bullpen either walk guys or threw home runs. That's what's going to hurt. And Chatwood as well. Chatwood struggled there. And it's not just him, but Chatwood struggled as well.
Yeah. It's something that's got to be fixed if they're going to be in the playoffs, and it's got to be fixed quickly. So,
yep.
Definitely going to be one of the components of the Blue Jays we'll keep our eyes on as we head into the postseason and, of course, into September. Couple of the other trades around the league. Let's go to the Chicago Cubs now. And in a matter of 24 hours, they became irrelevant again. We'll start with Chris Bryant. He goes to the San Francisco Giants for Alexander Canario and Caleb Killian. And Chris Bryant to the Giants. They had to do something. The Dodgers did something. The Giants had to. This was almost a must do this trade or give up the division and play in a wild card game.
Well, the Giants are a lot like how Boston was, right? Like where they got to do, like, it's weird. Like no one predicted them to be there in the league in the division, which is really cool to have for baseball. I love it. But the Giants had to do something, like you said, with the Dodgers doing what they did. The Padres kind of lost the deadline, in my opinion. They trade all those prospects. So. They trade all those prospects, and they're still a second wild card team.
Well, with the failed rumors of Scherzer to the Padres, like that worked out, didn't it?
Yeah. I mean, that's why I think the Dodgers gave up the extra picks and got Drew Turner in there as well. I mean, if you're the Nationals, not a team like the Cubs, you got to do that move. But with the Giants, I mean, I was a little surprised they gave up all those prospects. I mean, there's no guarantee for next year with Bryant being there for just a rental, right? I was kind of surprised. But like you said, I just think they want to win that division. San Francisco's a winning market. It's a winning market. The Giants were winning World Series. They won
a World Series 3 out of 5 years.
And it's similar to the Blue Jays with Vladdy having a good year, a very underrated year that no one's talking about. Buster Posey's having an MVP type season. As Reece, you know, on your fantasy team, Buster Posey is one of the best players on your team. But he was one of your best players, though. Like Buster Posey's having an MVP type season. I mean, he skipped last year and it helped him. So that's interesting. I mean, I think he had to praise your veterans because you never know, right? Maybe next year's deadline, Buster Posey's not a Giant. And I'm not making any hot takes or anything, but you never know with the circumstances, right? They come out, Chris Bryant, the chances of him re-signing, being a Boris guy with San Francisco are probably very slim.
Yep.
So maybe next year they just figure, okay, let's give our fans this. Let's give them this 1 year. Let's throw it in here. Let's get Buster Posey one more championship. Let's get Brandon Crawford one more championship with the Giants. Let's get this team something to cheer about, right? Like when the Giants were the winning World Series, they were never like, yeah, they were always good, right? But like they could get in the second spot, get in the wild card spot, and win the World Series. That's what the cool part was about the Giants, right? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. But I just think for making a Bryant move, I think it's to protect your veteran guys too. Guys like Posey, you got to go all in.
Yeah, well, you think just about the front of that rotation: Matt Cain, Tim Lincecum, and Madison
Yeah.
Bumgarner. Like that was. We
Lights
talk
out.
about how much the Tigers
Even Barry Zito the one year.
yeah,
Zito
exactly.
that one year.
Yeah, we talk about the Tigers failing so badly that they did. But the Giants, like they had good pitching. That's the reason they swept the Tigers in 12. That's the reason why they won in 10 and 14 as well. So, yeah, we can talk about that all day. Sticking with the Cubs, though, they made more of a minor deal and will involve the Padres. Jake Marisnick heads to San Diego for Anderson Espinoza. Again, minor. Marisnick's going to go on the bench and pinch hit or pinch run or play in the field. That's essentially what that move is. But
for the National League pickup, right? National League pickup, September expanded rosters are coming too.
Yep.
So the extra guys, and he's just a guy who's going to pinch hit for the pitcher, maybe like one of those guys.
Yep. Of course, another major one: Javi Baez and Trevor Williams go to the New York Mets for Pete Crow Armstrong, who's an outfielder. And Baez, 22 home runs this season, 65 RBIs.
That might be the biggest one.
Him and Lindor up the middle, eh?
I just think it's the Mets thinking Lindor is going to be out longer than expected. I think you mentioned that before.
I agree.
I think you mentioned that before, that Lindor is going to be out longer than expected for the Mets. So let's pick up Baez. He can play shortstop. And then once Lindor comes back, we have a good problem. We move one to second base. And it sounds like Javier Baez was very sold, huge on playing with Lindor and playing second base. I mean, that's fine with him. He can play all over the diamond, which is very big. And I think that move hurt the Cubs fans the most. Javier Baez. Baez was a fan favorite. I mean, obviously Bryant, Rizzo too, but Baez was that guy that was out there, right? Like he's got that personality, he's got that swagger where fans gel to that, right? They like that. And it's just, I think that was a tough move for the Cubs fans.
Well, I saw something that he goes, immediately I'm signing with the Cubs in the offseason.
Yeah. So, yeah, then he mentioned that. He wants to sign with the Cubs.
He wants to be back. He'll go play with Lindor for half a season, and then he'll just go back.
Yeah, which it would be a heck of a move for the Cubs.
Yeah, it would be. Oh, yeah.
Which would be a heck. But then you never know, though. Baez might end up liking New York, right? Like, you hear those a lot, right? Like, I might be back. But it doesn't happen. But Baez is a guy that has a personality that says stuff. I can tell you this, so I'm not saying that it's like, I know, like the Jays, you heard the rumors about Trevor Story, but what about Javier Baez? Can you imagine Javier Baez with Marcus Semien, Bo Bichette, and like Vladdy? Like he fits the personality of the clubhouse.
100% he does.
I'm not saying he's going there. I'm not making up rumors or nothing, but I just think like if I was Ross Atkins, or like Trevor Story, I'd just say forget into it. Forget Trevor Story. I'd go after Javier Baez. I think Javier Baez fits your system here. He fits that core, that clubhouse a lot better. Be more out there too. So that's just the thing that I would do if I was Ross Atkins.
Yeah. Major move number 3 for the Chicago Cubs. They received Nick Madrigal and Cody Hoyer from the Chicago White Sox in exchange for closer, now more than likely setup man, Craig Kimbrell. And you shake your head because you're like, Liam Hendricks is a stud. Well, what's the thinking here? But we saw Kansas City's bullpen when they won the World Series.
Cleveland. It's a classic.
White Sox learned a thing or two here.
It's a classic AL Central bullpen. The last teams to go to the World Series in the AL Central had the best bullpens in the league. And I think for the AL Central, I'm not saying it's the only way to win, but it's a massive way to win against the American League East teams like the Yankees and the Red Sox that have the power bats, right? Good pitching beats good hitting. So that's it. That's the way Cleveland shut down Toronto in 2016 with Andrew Miller. They shut them down. In Kansas City the year before shut Toronto down. I think that's the recipe to get to the World Series. You need a good bullpen, and it doesn't matter what inning. So Charlie Montoya really turned me the other way when he mentioned when Jordan Romano, when back in Buffalo, they blew the one game and Jordan Romano didn't come in the 8th inning, and it was a tie game. And there's a guy on first with none out, and I said, okay, you might as well bring him in, right? Shut it down. Because the 9th inning might not mean nothing. It might not be there if you don't get out of it now. And Charlie Montoya said something after the game that said he's a closer. He pitches in the 9th inning, and I've always been a fan of having your best reliever pitch in the biggest spot. Like Andrew Miller, when he was in Cleveland, came into those big spots. Like he went in with the bases loaded and got out of it. Like, why not have that guy? And I think Kimbrel's going to do that. Kimbrel might not be just the eighth guy. Kimbrel might flip-flop with Ryan Tepera as well, who came over, which was a great ad for the White Sox. And and Kimbrel might be that guy that comes in like the sixth inning. Like, you're playing New York, you're playing Toronto, you're playing Boston. JD Martinez is coming up. Rafael Devers and Vander Bogaerts are coming up. We got to get out of that inning. I'm going to throw you in there. Those are the three batters. Get out of that, because that might be the toughest spot all game. The chances of you eliminate that, right, of getting them later on in the game. So shut them down there. And I'm a big fan of those moves to do that in the bullpen, because I think that 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, like what Kansas City did in 15 with Holland and those guys, they shut it down. Like, they were lights out. They can hit it. Like, nobody can hit off them. And I think that's what wins. I really do think that's so important, because you imagine you're a starting pitcher and you got a bullpen like that where all you got to do is pitch 5 innings. You can let it go. You can just let it air out, like grip and rip it. Just have fun, like air it out.
When I think that's where the thinking of the White Sox comes in is, you got Lance Lynn, who's been great. He throws a lot of pitches. He's thrown a lot of games where he's just gone 5
That's another
innings.
thing.
Like, and Carlos Rodon, great.
He's went
like Lucas Giolito has not been a stellar pitcher this year.
Yeah, and that's what helps. And so now, and that's the problem. You know, LaRue said being an old school guy, that probably doesn't help either. But it's nice to have a guy that you can just tell Giolito, okay, you're just throwing 5 innings today. Just give me 5. Just give me 5. It's like when we started pitching, Reece, and like we're playing 7-inning games, right? Your coach just tells you, okay, give me 3. Just give me 3 innings. And anything above that's a bonus. But we'll go 3 innings, and then after that, we'll take what we can get. Majors, okay, give me 5. Just give me 5 innings. And if you're pitching good, we'll keep you going, but we'll play it by ear. And I think that's a huge thing for guys like that to eat the innings. Because how many guys do you see get in the playoffs and just can't pitch at all? David Price struggled in the playoffs, right?
I agree.
Guys get in the playoffs and they just threw 200 innings. Then they get in the playoffs and they're forced to throw 7-8 innings because you might not play the next day. And that's hard. That is hard. That's like a defenseman playing 40 minutes a game in the NHL in the playoffs. It's hard to do. And I think getting that extra relievers, beef up the bullpen, is major. It pays major dividends to your starting staff. When you drop the innings from 3 to 4 innings a start, it's massive what can happen in the year when they're rested in the playoffs. It's amazing what happens when guys are rested.
Yeah, and then that 4th massive deal, Anthony Rizzo to the New York Yankees. Cubs get Alexander Vizcaino and Kevin Alcantara. And Anthony Rizzo is going to hit a bunch of routine fly balls that are going to clear the fence by 3 feet.
He's going to love New York. He's going to be I think he'll be like the A-Rod. And when Rodriguez come over and end your career with the Yankees, be a lifelong Yankee. And I know Cubs fans, if any Cubs fans are listening to this, they're going to be so upset. And trust me, the Cubs are in my top 3 favorite teams. So, but he's going to stay with the Yankees just because he can hit so many home runs. I mean, he can be 35 years old and have 35 home runs in the year just because you're playing at Yankee Stadium. Why wouldn't you do that? That saves you an extra $10 million probably. Like, the Yankees are going to pay you. And plus, the big thing is Chicago retained salary, and Texas did too with Joey Gallo. So that's interesting too, because it's really not Yankees going out and buying players, right? They're kind of the other teams took money to take guys too. So that's interesting to hear too.
Yeah, well, and you look at Anthony Rizzo, you think, oh, this guy's going to hit between 275, 290 around that area. It's only got 248 this season. It's not like that's a hit every 4th at bat. That's still really good. But
it is.
You're not getting a guy that's going to hit in every single situation. You're going to get it's like you said, strikeout, home run, or the odd double, or like you see with Stanton and Judge already, just from the different side of the plate. It's the way they're building their team is a complete opposite of what a true hitting lineup is.
They're not a true base hitting team. they're not a team that's going to hit the ball. They're not a team that's going to hit the ball 8 feet in the air over shortstop and second base or pound the ball in the gap like that. Yeah, they might pound a ball in the gap because they barreled it, but they just missed it. But they're a team that's going to hit those long fly balls to the warning track for outs, those loud outs. They're going to hit a lot of long out outs, but they're going to be up there swinging for the – well, not – who knows if they're swinging for the fences, but they're going to strike out a lot. Yeah. I mean, they're going to lead the league in strikeouts because Rizzo's the guy that's going to strike out a lot. Chris Bryant was like that too with the Cubs. They struck out a lot. And Joey Gallo's the same thing. Joey Gallo going to the Yankees as well. And there's a guy that could be the strikeout king, right? He's going to strike out. He's going to hit home runs. Joey Gallo someday will hit 50 home runs in New York because of the porch and that. He will hit 50 one year. Curtis Granderson almost hit 50 home runs in that one year with the Yankees. So it will happen, but eventually he's going to strike out a lot. And I just think when you don't add a lot of pitching, when you don't have a lot of pitching and it's all Garrett Cole throwing 100 pitches an outing, you're going to see him lose those 14-0 games to Tampa Bay. You are going to see that with Garrett Cole because he's going to have to pitch lights out every start because they don't have anyone else behind him. Yep. And it's a lot of pressure for Pedro Severino coming back. It's a lot of pressure for him. And Chapman not being Aroldis Chapman this year hurts. And I just think it's mileage with Aroldis Chapman. Chapman's best times are behind him, in my opinion. I just think when you pitch that much, being lights out, that dominant for so long, eventually it crashes down, which is unfortunate to see, but it happens. And that's the part that is tough for the Yankees. They're not pitching. So that's a second, third place team in the AL East just because of that. I don't see how much ground they gained because I think good pitching beats good hitting. I mean, when you look at them, if Tampa Bay didn't lose Glasnow, you put Glasnow against that Yankees lineup with that breaking ball and fastball that mix of speeds, Glasnow shuts them down. Yeah. Like when Chris Sale comes back for the Red Sox, that might be the best dad in the division.
That's coming, eh?
Like, Pat Barrios, yeah, he's gonna make one rehab start there next week, I believe. So possibly in 2 weeks, by the next recording, we could be talking about Chris Sale debut. And trust me, he's gonna come throwing. And I was looking at that as well. And I know you mentioned it to me the other night. We were in the Red Sox game. You mentioned to me that they about Justin Verlander, looking at Justin Verlander. Could you imagine if Verlander was able to come back for the Astros? Like,
right? That's what I'm saying.
The Astros are in that similar spot, which would be interesting.
Yeah. Obviously, Justin Verlander not coming back. Unfortunately, that would be wild to see if he was in Houston. But yeah, one last thing before we get to the break. Well, we got to talk about it. The Los Angeles Dodgers get Max Scherzer and Trey Turner from the Washington Nationals, who have really fallen off by a lot.
Them in the Cubs traded everybody.
Really the only one remaining.
Did you see the Photoshop sign under Scherzer that said, and they had it out in front of Wrigley Field, the sign at Wrigley Field that says,
no.
Looking, we're now hiring, looking for all positions to fill all positions. The trades. I love that one. Yeah.
That'd be pretty sweet. Going back to Washington, a couple of rookies, Josiah Gray and catcher Keibert Ruiz, as well as two minor leaguers, Gerardo Carrillo and outfielder Donovan Casey. And so Trevor Bauer's not coming back. That's pretty evident by this trade, I think. And their infielder is going to be pretty studly. Cool. This is essentially what I'm getting from that.
And I don't think Seager's coming back next season as well. The shortstop market next year is going to be the best shortstop market it could possibly ever be. The shortstop market is going to be very good in free agency. You got Seager, you got Story, you got Baez. You got so many guys that are going to be legit. Like, that could change your team. Like, look at the Detroit Tigers, right? The Tigers are going to sign a guy like a Story. Like how much that could help.
That's really the position they're lacking depth, the Tigers. They have Zach Short right now who can.
That's why I thought it.
Like, he can play defense.
That's why I thought of that.
Because they've been missing since Johnny Peralta played back in 2012.
And that's why I thought of that, just because teams like that are having really good years that no one's talking about. And next year, they could be those teams where Toronto is this year that are 2-3
I
spots
agree.
away from a wild card. Don't be surprised if the Detroit Tigers are fighting for a wild card. Don't be surprised if the Detroit Tigers are buyers at the deadline next year. They didn't do anything this year. That means they're going to go all in the offseason. I mean,
And they have pitching
knows.
core. If you paid any attention to the draft, anyone,
exactly. And Casey Mize's last start was a stud. Yeah. I mean, he's putting it together this year. He is Casey Mize, and I wish the Jays would have did this all along with Nate Pearson, opener. That's all he was in the minors. That's all Casey Mize was. And now look at him. I mean, now he's
except when he threw a no-hitter.
Yeah. Other than that,
I got you.
That's different. But
they've started limiting his innings. That was the first time he went past 5 in 3 or 4 starts. They let him go because he was throwing a gem. So yeah, go ahead. You've earned this. You haven't gone past 5 in a while, so go for it.
Exactly. And I think that should be the new plan in baseball. Guys aren't built to pitch complete games anymore. I mean, it's a new school game.
There's no Jack Morris 10-inning shutouts.
And I think it's just because mentally engaging now. It's hard to go through the orders that many times and face guys like Vladdy Jr. that many times in a game. You can face once you face Vladdy Jr. the third time in a start. I want to know the stats because I'm sure Vlad Jr.'s numbers facing his pitcher the third time through the order are off the charts because guys like that are going to hit Fernando Tatis, Juan Soto, guys like that see pitchers more than twice in a game are just going to tee off. I mean, it doesn't matter how good you are. Hitters are that good, which is crazy. And now with the no spin rate thing, with the pitchers being checked, it's even more of an advantage to the hitter. So as a pitcher, you think about that all the time. That's such a pitcher's thing to say.
Yeah, it is.
No, that they take the spin rate away. But it's
I mean, you've seen it though. Garrett Cole, prime example. He's won 1 game since they took it away, and that's because he went 9 innings and told his manager to essentially bleep off and get off the mound. Other than that, it's been garbage.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But it was a fun deadline. That was so much fun.
Oh, it was good, and it was funny. So
it sucks. I had to work. I should have took the day off.
We should have did a full count pod trade deadline thing.
We should have.
But I had the MLB network on, and it was interesting because there's nothing. The morning show starts at 7 a.m. on trade deadline day, right? You're all excited for the deadline.
It's almost pointless to start that early.
And then nothing happened and the show ended at 1, and nothing happened until 12:50. It was so funny. 10 minutes to go in the show. They're just ending. Because when you in the broadcast, they radio shows, they usually end 6 minutes, 4 minutes to the hour, right? Because the commercials. So you only had 4 minutes with that deadline out. So all of a sudden you got to rush through it. That would be so hard on air to do that.
Yeah, but hey, it was a fun day. The MLB trade deadline. It's not usually, but at times it can be really boring. Like you mentioned, there may not be a whole lot. It's kind of like MLB free agency. It's one of the boringest times in the baseball schedule.
Because it's not that one day, right? It's not that one day. Hockey, basketball, you get that one day at free agency frenzy and guys go all over the place, right?
Well, we saw it in
you got a month.
We saw it in basketball, 6 p.m. on Monday, Lowry to the Miami Heat.
Yeah, it happens quick. But when you look at the Major League Baseball, winter meetings, right? Winter meetings. What do winter meetings do anymore? It's more trades. You really don't see a lot of guys sign at winter meetings anymore. Remember before you'd see guys, winter meetings, Prince Fielder to the Tigers, right? Yep. Yu Darvish to the Rangers. Then that doesn't really happen anymore. Now it's January, a month before spring training. And
I'm going to wait to see what this guy gets paid before I see what I can get paid.
Exactly. And I think that's a lot of agents say. I think that's a lot of the agents. Because
agents and no cap.
Because you look at that with the Boris clients. The Boris clients now, Scott Boris has always been that guy, right? Yeah. But he's that guy that's going to try to do that as well. That pushes his players back to the max.
Well, and that's one of the things that bothers me about baseball is play the game. It took you how long to get here? Just take your $5 million and run.
Remember where you came from. Yeah.
Exactly.
Everyone, once you get to the majors, you're in a better place for every single person. Single person. There's no place better than the major leagues for a baseball player. There's no place better.
I agree 100%. And we will continue the conversation after we take a break. When we come back, Colin has already been to a Jays game, so he'll kind of give you the rundown about what the experience is like in a pandemic at a Major League Baseball game for anyone who hasn't been to one in 2 years. And then we'll also kind of, after this trade deadline has gone through, where are we at in terms of playoff races and teams that are now out of it, teams that are now in it, teams that think they're in it, but they're really not. And
Pretenders.
Yeah, it should be a fun conversation. So we'll do that next here on the Armchair GM Sports Network.
J&L Flooring is a Niagara-based specialty flooring and design company. They take great pride in providing elite customer service and support. They are a specialty flooring and decor boutique shop with a beautiful showroom, great pricing, and a wide variety and truly unique selection of products. All their products are environmentally friendly and responsibly produced, so you can feel great about your flooring choices. Their goal as a local business is to build authentic relationships based on honesty and integrity that they foster with respect and authenticity. Offering unique and wide range of quality products presented by a knowledgeable and patient team, they connect with their customers to simplify the process to make their life easier and to make their homes beautiful. Visit them at 4424 Montrose Road, Niagara Falls, or find out more at jnlflooring.com. Open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. through 5 p.m. and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. 905-358-3299 J&L Flooring.
The Spicy Olive Bar and Grill is located on the top of Clifton Hill and just a 5-minute walk from the majestic Niagara Falls. It is conveniently nestled in the heart of the tourist district. A family-owned and operated business, the Spicy Olive opened its doors in May of 2003 and has since been established as an authentic and unique Italian restaurant and bar. Its rustic ambiance and time-worn finishing provide a warm and inviting dining experience. Offering an array of delicious dishes, they specialize in authentic Italian cuisine, homemade sauces, fresh ingredients, and consistently providing a strong foundation on which they build their menu. As night falls, the Spicy Olive shifts to a lively lounge where drinks and live music come together to make a perfect evening. For more than 15 years, they have provided not only for their dedicated locals, but their customers from all over the world with authentic Italian food and great live entertainment. Open daily 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. for dinner and till 2 a.m. for drinks. Check out their new menu and book reservations on their website at Spicy Olive Bar and Grill, it's with an E at the end, .com, or call 905-371-2323 for reservations as well. The Spicy Olive Bar and Grill.
You're listening to the Armchair GM Sports Network, the Niagara region's best local source for North American sports podcasting coverage. By sports fans, for sports fans.
And welcome back to the AGM Full Count MLB Baseball Podcast with the Armchair GM Sports Network. And Colin Ward along with Reece today. We are B-capless for the final segment.
B-capless. I like that.
B-capless. The skip.
That's going to be the new saying when he's not here.
Yeah, he's going to be upset about that. The B-capless. But he's the skip. He's the man that runs the show. He's got a lot of new exciting things going on with the network. NFL's back. So that's going to be fun. I'm going to be paying attention to the football show for me just because of the
football.
I mean, go Broncos. I'm expecting big things this year with the new defense. So I'll be listening to that. And fellow Bronco fans or any NFL fans, make sure you tune into the football podcast. Extra point because it's going to be fun. So back to baseball. And I was able to go to the Blue Jays game on Sunday afternoon. And things are different in COVID times. But it really wasn't that much different. The ballpark looks really nice. Reece, I'm just going to say that. The ballpark looks
That was the first thing
really
you said
nice.
to me. I asked you, I'm like, how was the game? He goes, man, that park is sick.
That park is sick. Like, it's cool. So they finally got rid, like in the outfield, they used to have like the double blue, like the Argonaut colors and like the sculpture things. They finally got rid of Argonaut stuff there. It's strictly a Blue Jay ballpark. It is strictly a Blue Jay ballpark, which is incredible because like it was always the Blue Jays park, which is nice. Which is nice to have that identity. It's all blue and white now too, like white and blue paint. And they got new roofing in the concourse as well. It's all white panels. which
they had a lot of time to work on it. So
yeah, they started after the 2019 season. Just added stuff. The turf is a lot better. The outfield grass doesn't look like you're playing on a carpet in your basement anymore. It looks like you're playing like on an actual grass surface, which is really nice. And apparently it's about real grass in 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole diamond's supposed to be,
which is really nice, which would be really cool to have there. That's what they need.
Yeah. It's a long process, right? First, you have to put in the clay. You can't just keep it at the 4 bases. You can't just have dirt at home first, second,
it looks
third.
So
they
bad
had to do the whole infield first, just to like get it through for 5 or 6 years that it's been. So,
2016 was the first year.
As much as I say,
time flies.
It's not a ballpark. Like I'm still skeptical. I'm like,
oh, you'll love it. You'll love it.
PNC Park, Comerica Park, Busch Stadium. You're like, man, those are ballparks. And then there's like Rogers Center.
Toronto. So this is the thing.
Like it's not an arena, but there is kind of that feel. Not really, but it's still like with the indoor, like Tampa Bay.
How spacious it is, right? Yeah.
Tampa Bay. I'd go, but I don't really want to. Like if I was doing if I wanted to go to every ballpark, obviously I'd go. But nobody goes out of their way to go to Tropicana Field unless you're
there. Yeah.
Or the Yankees are in town.
Yeah.
Like it's for me, it's still that vibe. Obviously, when they get real grass and it's starting to feel like a ballpark.
Yeah, you know what though, with the new high rises and stuff they built there too, you start to get that you're in the middle of the city, you're in the downtown. Toronto's built up so much. There's not a lot of parking down there, but I will tell you this: so we took the train.
I was gonna say the GO train comes in clutch.
We took the GO train, so for 3 people it was just $30, $10 each.
Round trip or?
Yeah, round trip. Online.
Wow.
So do it online. So if you're going on a weekend, if you're going Saturday, Sunday, I don't know about Friday, but Saturday, Sunday, if you're going to a Jays game, go online, Google GO train /weekend pass, and it's only $10 a ticket plus return, so $5 each way. So if you're going to the ball game, I mean, it's like almost $60.
Wait, if it's a weekend pass, can't you just use it unlimited?
It's a daily. It's just a day.
So it gets you all of Sunday for $10.
Yeah. I have the picture of it. We're live right now, so people will see it. So you'll see it beside me. So you see the time there. So I took a screenshot of it. So 23 hours I had to yesterday when I got it. And that's all it is. They scan it. And then we had the 3
passes.
What's
that barcode covered then?
Valid for travel. And then it's just a ticket number.
But you have to punch in. Like, do you have to punch in the ticket number at like a kiosk or
just scan? Just scan it. But it's the way. Right. Honestly,
we'll do that when we go see the Tigers and Jays.
Yeah, it's like $10, right? Like that's perfect. You skip the GO train lines, right? And it's just another thing that they were doing through COVID awareness. And every half hour now it's a train too. So if you miss that train, you get the second one a half hour, which is nice. And it's
you got to wear a mask the whole trip, right?
Yep. Yeah, you got to wear a mask, even in the seating. So at the ballpark, I think I'm done with Union now anyway, with the GO train. So when you get to the ballpark, it's normal. It's other than wearing a mask and the concessions being different, it's just like going to a normal Blue Jay game, less with 15,000 fans. But it feels like
more room to rock around. That's nice.
But the lower bowl is not distance. The lower bowl is just random. The second deck is, but the lower bowl, it's all, there's not a lot of social distancing. So there's one update that be aware, because if you need the social distancing,
you are not vaxxed.
Yeah, if you're not vaccinated, and that's another thing too, you don't have to be vaccinated to go to the ballpark.
That's pretty sweet.
They don't screen you or nothing either. So I thought when
I'm still getting my temperature taken at the mall in Brantford.
Yeah, no,
they don't do it at Jays games. That makes no sense.
I know, that's the one thing I couldn't believe. So we walked in. So we walked into the security. Then you go to the ticket takers, and it's all phone now, right? There's no scalpers anymore, because how can you scalp on mobile tickets? Yeah. So there's no scalping or nothing. So you just walk in, you scan your phone and the ticket. It's very weird when they send you the tickets. I had a heck of a time. On Friday night.
Ticketmaster was giving you a crap. Like,
yeah, I had a very hard time in that process. getting it to my phone wallet and to my into the app. I had a really hard time because it's with the Jays. So every time, if you don't have data, you're kind of in trouble to pop up your tickets. So there's one. But you just walk in, you scan your ticket. They don't ask you anything. They really don't ask you anything. If you're going to if the washrooms are all open, it's not every other like stall and that, because like, you know, like in the washrooms, it's been every other, like every other sink and that, and like hand dryers and stuff.
Yep.
And like, it's all touchless though, obviously now. And it's not every other, it's just normal, the washrooms. They have hand sanitizers, dispensaries at every section that you're going in before you're going in, which is nice to have, right? It's a nice touch.
Yep.
They were cleaning the railings a lot, which is good throughout the innings, because hands touch like all the people that go up and down, right? The one thing that is weird is, so the people the vendors that sell up and like to go in between the rows and stuff, right? Like in the sections, like to sell in game. It's cashless, right? Now there, that's another thing too. It's cash, so don't take one thing of cash. So
you can't tip them anymore.
So it's weird on the vendors.
You could, but
so that's the thing. It's weird on the vendors. So in the lower bowl, that it's not social distance. You have people. So if you get, not a lot of people did this. Not a lot of people did this, but if you get a drink or something, you have to pass your debit card down to the person. They tap it, or they pass you the machine. You tap it, and then it goes down through everybody like normal. But that's where you think they should take cash in there. Yeah. But I guess when everybody's touching everything, right? But I was very surprised they did that. Like, I was very surprised they had those vendors.
How can you deny people to pay cash? It's like cash is legal anywhere else you go, which I know. I don't get that aspect of it.
That's part of the government thing too. That's part of the government
I guess
needs to play, because the Blue Jays, let's be honest, went through a heck of a time getting to play in Toronto. The Blue Jays had a heck of a time, which props to them, they made it. But I mean, they got screwed, to be honest. Last year they got put through the ringer on a lot of things that they had to do. They just had to do everything they said, which kind of sucked for the team when every other place got a home game, right? And they didn't. So they really went by the book. They tried to limit everything, so then they're not in government trouble, right? Yeah. They just want to play at home. So they have the hand sanitizers thing. The vendors, I was surprised they still did that, just because of that. So many people are touching stuff, right? And I still have that phobia too, where it's weird when, like, if you get a drink or something, someone's touching, like, that you don't even know is touching your stuff, right? I have a little bit of a germ.
That's where it's worth the trip up in between innings. You may miss one out, but
that's where it's worth it. But there's another thing. So they like the shops they had in the concourse before, like the pop-up shops where you can get the T-shirts and stuff, those are gone. It's just one Jays shop. And the line is huge. So if you're gonna go spend,
that makes no sense.
Man, the line was a half hour long. The line was
makes absolutely no sense.
Just one shop. I don't get that either. I thought they would have the other one open.
Like, how can that be a stipulation? There's no way that's a stipulation that the government put in. There's no way. Unless they wanted less staff, then I can clearly see why you wouldn't have more.
Yeah, that they only have one shop open. That was one thing that surprised me.
Not that I'd go in there anyways, but
yeah, honestly, I didn't go in there, but the line was a half hour long.
Yeah,
I mean, if you go to the line at 12:30, you're gonna miss a game. Yeah, so that was kind of tough. But the concessions, it's basically just hot dogs, popcorn, nachos, like that's the normal. But there's no like specialty things like I said before the show. I was a big chicken nacho guy, huge chicken nacho guy. Those are gone, which are unfortunate for me. But move on. Things happen. But those are gone now. Like they used to have subs, like those sandwiches. Those are gone now. It's just the basics. And the condiments, this is what I don't get. So they don't have a condiment layout anymore, right? Like they used to have those condiment booths where you just go off to the side beside it and do it.
Usually in between the washrooms.
Yeah, exactly. They don't have those anymore. But they put the condiments in the packages, which suck. I hate
the packages. Yeah.
We should do a Twitter poll. Do you like at a ball game? Do you like hot dog packages or dispensers? Heck yes, or dispensers or
that should be we're gonna make that a poll question.
because it's got to be dispensers. If you're a package person, you're nuts. You're nuts. You're nuts.
There's such a good chance that you rip open mustard and it goes everywhere.
Hey, you know what I'm like, Reece? When I open up, I'm the worst mustard, ketchup, relish package opener there is in the world. I'm terrible at it. So like I open it up and sometimes I can go too hard, right? Like that. It just splatters all over you. I once spilt it like all over there, like in my short, as I stand up live broadcast. Wow. Yeah, like I spilt it like all down my leg, and I was like, "Oh no, like this is tough." So, yeah, I'm not a package opener. I'm a dispenser guy, but they don't do so. They just put it in a barrel, and I don't get this. So, they don't give out straws anymore either. You got to ask for straws and napkins.
That doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I don't care anyways.
Especially if it's paper straws, as environmentally friendly as they are. No,
plastic. It's plastic.
All right.
But so they have like a barrel full of like a half a barrel full of like all the condiments, but they only put it on every other cash register. So if you're in like if you're in the end, you got to walk to like the middle, like 2 over to get your condiments right beside everybody paying. There's not a lot of social distancing there. So that's kind of weird. I would just put it in there. I would just put it on like where they had the condiments, just like that.
Yeah.
Just do it like that.
Maybe have someone monitor it, like sanitizing it every so often. Like...
Well, there's a thing too. People, please throw your stuff out. Some people are pretty inconsiderate. I mean, when you got people working at the Rogers Center picking up after you, help them out a little bit, right? Like it's like in school, right? When you see the janitor or whatever, like you don't throw your stuff in the middle of the hallway and stuff. Like help people. Like it's common sense. Like that's not their job to keep.
Be a decent human being.
Yeah. Be common sense. But it's just crazy. Like I watched this guy yesterday just throw like 3 wrappers right on the ground by the condiment booth. And I'm just thinking,
the garbage was right there, wasn't it?
Yeah, the garbage was literally 20 feet to his right. I was going to walk him to it. I was going to say, hey, 20 feet, turn right, 20 feet straight ahead. You'll walk right into it. Keep walking, walk right into it. You'll bump into it. But I couldn't believe that. That stuff bugs me, but that's just maybe one person, right? I hope that's just one person because there's a lot of problems if it isn't. But that's basically the gist of it. So you got to wear a mask in your seat unless you're eating, which I think everyone really knew. Oh,
yeah, but I feel like all the fans are just going to get into the habit of they're going to eat and they'll be like,
so a lot of
I really don't want to put this back on.
I don't have my mask, but so a lot of fans went like this, like put their so I have my shirt underneath my nose. If anyone's listening to it on like Apple Podcasts, like Spotify, you can't see it, but if you're listening to it on YouTube, you can see it. I just have my shirt underneath my nose, so it's just like that. Wear their mask over their lip, but a lot of people were pretty good though. To be honest, in our section, a lot of people were pretty good, which is good that way. That's always nice to have people in your section that aren't fools. But I mean, I had the people that flipped off Michael A. Taylor, like 5 rows in front of us, so that was pretty cool. In the 8th inning when he struck out, and there's a bunch of Toronto fans on Vladimir Guerrero Jr. jerseys shooting the guy a finger. That was in front of me, so that was pretty neat. See something new every day.
Yeah.
Well, we got one thing you like in the outfield. In the outfield now they have standing room, which is perfect. So remember before in the Rogers Center you really couldn't see the game of that. Like if you have your hands full, right, you can set it down somewhere and like kind of readjust. Now at the Rogers Center they have standing room booths all along the outfield. It's not just hurry to the flight deck. They have it all around the park now for standing room, which is perfect.
Yeah.
Sometimes you fry in that building, right? And it's like, I got to go for a walk. I got to go watch somewhere else and I can't watch it. They have TVs on every single section now too with the game on as well. So you don't miss anything. Which is nice. Even the washrooms, they got TVs now too. So you're constantly in the action now, which I like. I like that you're in the action, right? Like you're not thinking, oh, what happened there? I heard a roar, right? But what happened there? So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, that's
opening mustard packages. I'm opening a mustard package. Wow, I spilled it all over my shorts. I'm running around looking where it's at.
Yeah, no, definitely looking forward to going there when Detroit is in town. That was nice that they weren't there early in the season. So
yeah, there's gonna be a lot of Tiger fans, and that's another thing. There was no Kansas City fans there because of the
shocking
border. Because of the border, and that's such a home field for the Blue Jays. Yeah. Like literally the only visiting fans. There's gonna be Yankee fans. There's a lot of Yankee fans in Ontario. And people might make the trip from out west too because of the Jays, right? Like they always go to Seattle and they can't this year. Yep. So people might make the trip there. Windsor, there's going to be a lot of Tiger fans. Windsor, London, there's going to be so many Tiger fans because, as you know, Reece, better than anybody, there's so many Windsor season ticket holders for the Tigers, right? Yeah. I couldn't go this year. And they're going to make that drive for the series in Toronto. No problem.
They're going to stay for all 3 games.
Yeah.
If not just the 2 on the weekend.
Because they go there right before school starts, too, for the summer. Because in the U.S., they start 2 weeks before we do here in Canada. So that's pretty good. The last nice trip before school goes back.
Yeah, that'll be nice for sure. Quickly, 2 minutes here. We need pretenders and contenders. And by the way, before we get to that, just like to give a shout out to myself. Nelson Cruz to Tampa Bay did happen. So,
hey, Barrios to Toronto.
All right, Colin. Who are your 2 contenders that for sure you give them a good chance to at least see an American League Championship Series game?
Well, the White Sox. I picked them at the beginning of the year. The White Sox are the team to watch in the American League right now, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. The National League, I'm going Giants. I think the National League, and it kind of sold myself. I kind of talked myself into it earlier, like a baseball politician, about Buster Posey. They got to give those guys something to play for, right, before they get too old or before they move on elsewhere. And I go Giants and White Sox as my buyers. Those are my guys.
I like that.
Pretenders, I think the Yankees. The Yankees don't have pitching, and they're still strikeouts and home runs don't win World Series. They get you to the playoffs. They'll win you a couple games in the playoffs, but they won't win you a World Series, and that's why the Yankees haven't been in a World Series because their lineup, it's not constructed to win it. So that's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. My first contender, Tampa Bay Rays. Nelson Cruz. That was a great pickup.
So you're on the Tampa wagon.
Yeah, he's going to add so much to that team. I give them a really good shot.
See, I just think the glass now thing
to make it to the World Series again.
Yeah. I mean, they're built, right? They're built to just win one game at a time, play the right way. I mean, as much as people hate it, but they move on. They move runners to get runners on. They grind out at bats. I like that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I'm interested in Wander Franco, see how he goes in his first ever MLB playoff chase run.
Well, how much does Nelson Cruz help Franco?
No,
I mean,
100%.
you saw Simeon with Vladdy, right? This year, Springer and Simeon, those guys with Vladdy and Bichette in Toronto.
Yeah. I agree.
And Toronto and Tampa Bay have based their teams off each other like so much. Yeah. Where there's another one.
Yeah. Contender number 2, the Houston Astros. Didn't do much, but they are still really good. So
yeah. I mean, pretender as well. Seattle, did they lose their dressing room or their clubhouse? Did they lose their clubhouse? I think Seattle's just playing with house money, to be honest, though. I'm not, that's why I never said they're pretenders. I just think that they're playing with house money, Seattle, where they're better than what anyone ever thought they were going to be anyways, right?
Yeah, and then my 2 pretenders, I'll go National League since I went 2 contenders. Pretender number 1, San Diego Padres. I agree. I think they lost the deadline. They had a real opportunity to make some really good moves, and they didn't do it.
And the Reds are coming up.
Yeah, the Reds, man, they're on a little bit of a run, 7-3 in their last 10, so they're looking good. The other pretenders, Philadelphia Phillies. I don't know. There's just
really,
I'm not on the Phillies wagon. I think they need more pitching. Obviously, the Blue Jays need more pitching, but Phillies, man.
I think the Jays addressed their needs better than Philadelphia did because I think
so too.
I think the Jays just needed the bullpen. I think the Jays rotation's the best in the division. With Ray, Ryu, Barrios, Matz, Manoah. That's solid.
I'm just running everything through my head right now. I mean, I think when Sale comes back, Boston might take that over. But again, we'll watch his first 2-3 starts to determine that. If he even gets that many. But Yeah, that'll essentially do it for us for this week. Like Colin said, we're B capless like that.
Yeah. Quick shout out. So since Reece and I are covering the intercounty and doing some work for the Brantford Red Sox, quick shout out. So last Thursday evening, and obviously St. Catharines natives, as I said, Armchair GM Sports Network, St. Catharines, Welland, Niagara region-based sports network. A quick shout out as the Brantford Red Sox came into Welland last Thursday evening to play the Jackfish, and Adam Jaffine, and this is crazy for any baseball fan in general, that's why we're saying this, threw 155 pitches. Yeah, 155 pitches last Thursday night in Welland, which is incredible, not to mention. I mean, I cannot believe that people around baseball have not heard that. That should be all over Twitter, social media. A guy threw 155 pitch complete game, and he wasn't coming out. He was not coming out. He told his manager that when he came out earlier on in like the 6th or 7th, he goes, "What are you doing out here? I'm not leaving. Like, this is my game. Get off my
I'm going
mound.
to Greece for 10 days. I'm not going to be pitching. Leave me in."
Yeah. This is my mound. I'm staying out here. So Adam Jaffine, player of the week, we could say, for the Full Count MLB pod this week.
Like that.
If you throw 155 pitches, you're on the player of the week. That's because pitchers are sick.
Okay.
Goes complete silent with a stare down.
On that note, we are done this week. Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in to this week's edition of the Full Count MLB podcast right here on the Armchair GM Sports Network, your source for our North American sports coverage by sports fans for sports fans, delivered to you right here in the Niagara region. Of course, Colin and I doing it together this week. Follow him at ColinWard_14. Follow myself at Reece Dumaney. And of course, our dedicated account for the show at AGM Full Count Pod. Big thanks to the listeners and baseball fans for tuning in and listening along with us for another episode. We hope to have you tuned in for the next one. It should be
check out the poll.
Good. The playoff races are starting. It should be fun. Yeah, we're gonna have a poll up on our Twitter account. Are you a packets person or are you a dispenser person? Have your say on our Twitter account at AGM Full Count Pod. Thanks so much for tuning in.
See you in 2.
You're listening to the Armchair GM Sports Network.